welcome to the news desk at 20 hours. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember to stay updated. You can be able to utilize our social media platforms as well as utilize our Diamond TV Zambia website. That's www.diamondtvzambia.com. Coming up shortly are the headlines. Driving schools, ground vehicles demand urgent dialogue over unconsulted road test changes. Mark Simue defends judiciary amid claims of bias in overturned conviction of Amos Chanda. Livestock disease outbreak hits southern Zambia. Authorities begin cattle screening after 30 deaths of cattle. More details are coming up.
Newsdesk at 8 with Justin Mulenga.
Good evening once again. Thank you for joining us on the news desk. Let's begin with the first story. The Association of Driving Schools in Zambia has protested what it calls abrupt and unrealistic changes to driver testing procedures introduced by the Road Transport and Safety Agency, RATSA. Association President Kennedy Kajiko says the new practical road test system was rolled out without any consultation. Mr. Kajiko has warned that the changes have caused massive backlogs, increased operating costs, and disrupted the testing process, posing a serious threat to the quality of driver training and service delivery. The driving schools have since suspended bookings and parked their vehicles in protest. They have since given the Road Transport and Safety Agency until Friday to respond, threatening continued industrial action if concerns are not addressed.
The Association of Driving Schools in Zambia has sounded the alarm over what it describes as abrupt, unrealistic, and forcibly introduced changes to the practical road test examinations by the Road Transport and Safety Agency. Driving schools say they were completely blindsided by the move, which was made without any prior consultation or engagement. The new testing system, labeled a failed project by the association, has led to chaos in the examination process, causing delays, increased operational costs, and deep frustration across the sector.
Quite disappointment with RTSA over the issues that they are telling us or what we are going through with them. As a member and the owner of the driving school, we are subjected to harsh conditions and things that they are doing, they are not working together with what they are saying. They are in the offices, they are saying other things. On the ground, there are other things that are happening. So far, like for the past 1 month, we've been subjected in a situation of doing the test. We are wasting 3 days just doing the test and practical test here. Even the theory classes are also affected.
It's not easy for our clients to be spending time here 3 days coming for just a simple license which can be obtained within just a day. You find that people are coming here for 3 days. Companies, they cannot allow people to be released for 3 days just coming for a license. While the issue of work also it's being it's being affected. So as driving schools, we have decided to come and protest so that at least we can get the audience from the authorities.
One of the affected clients complains.
So me, I booked on Friday, then I do reverse on Monday. So since I do reverse on Monday, then I was supposed to do on the road tomorrow, yesterday. Then they say that no, there is no manpower. So we keep on draying, whereby we have raised something behind which is stuck our homes here. So we are just coming here, but nothing is going ahead.
And association president has since given the authorities an ultimatum to act on their concerns.
Yeah, so we are giving them up to this Friday. We are giving them up to this Friday. If they are not going to attend to these issues up to this Friday, then we are also extending our protest even to the provision. So we are not going to we will go to all the stations. All the stations will tell all our clients are crying, they are complaining that RATSA is not fair, RATSA, they have created a hostile environment, they are crying. So we'll tell everyone to do what? So this thing was going to happen a long time. So we've been telling them, no, wait, we are trying to engage with the management. But the management is not doing anything. So now we are also under pressure. So we'll withdraw, we'll also extend it because nothing is happening.
Feeling unheard and unsupported, the association is now calling on the Ministry of Transport to intervene. Until meaningful dialogue and corrective action are taken, driving schools have resolved to suspend all new bookings in protest of what they describe as a hostile and unworkable testing environment. Victoria Kayeye Yambani, Diamond News.
In more news, the Department of Fisheries and Livestock in Kazungula District, southern Zambia, has confirmed the suspected outbreak of contagious bovine pleuropneumonia in cattle. Kazungula District Fisheries and Livestock Coordinator Dr. Webi Chibomba says the disease has already killed about 30 cattle in Bombwe and Mumba wards. Dr. Chibomba says preparations are currently underway for a comprehensive screening of cattle in the affected wards. He says since since announced a ban on the movement of animals into and out of the district to help control the spread of the disease. And CBPP is a serious bacterial infection that affects the lungs of cattle and can spread rapidly through contact between animals. We would like to warn our sensitive viewers that the images you're about to see may be disturbing.
These are some of the images captured in some abattoirs where the contagious bovine pleuropneumonia, abbreviated as CBPP, was suspected. Experts say this disease primarily affects the lungs and has symptoms such as fever, labor to rapid breathing, cough, and nasal discharge. In Kazungula District, southern Zambia, approximately 30 cattle have reportedly died due to the suspected outbreak.
As a district, we sent our officers. They have been on the ground in the two areas as Chonzo and Kalobe. Our officers have gone. They have gone basically to sensitize the community and also do clinical examinations. That's clinical examinations and field visits.
Although the disease is still undergoing laboratory confirmation, the government has implemented restrictions on the movement of animals and several other control measures.
And, the policy has been, whenever we find any such cases, those heads where we find the positive ones, positive animals for CBPP, are supposed to be removed.
CBPP is highly contagious, with a mortality rate that can reach up to 50%. And as economic challenges, this is why civic leaders, including Wombwe Ward Councillor Ian Ejilale, are advocating for coordinated efforts to prevent further economic losses for farmers who are already dealing with crop failures.
If it's an animal that they suspect that it is not from Saudi or not from that area, they should go to that animal until they know where it is coming.
Contagious bovine pleuropneumonia is listed by the World Health Organization Animal Health, but it has not been diagnosed in humans. Gabriel Jasas Mova, Diamond News, Southern Zambia.
More from the news desk. Beneficiaries of the Emergency Cash Transfer Program have expressed concern following the government's announcement to the end of the initiative. And Phyllis Chanda, the 21-year-old mother from Mweye village, says the support she received through the program enabled her to build a house and provide for her 5-year-old child. While expressing gratitude to the government, Ms. Chanda has appealed for the continuation of the programs, saying the hardships of life won't spare vulnerable families like hers. And Minister of Community Development, Doreen Mwamba, on Tuesday announced the conclusion of the 2024 to 2025 emergency cash transfer, which targeted elderly persons, people living with disabilities, and lactating mothers.
Zambia experienced one of the worst droughts in decades, severely affecting agriculture output across the country. Most regions struggled to harvest their crops, prompting government to step in with support for the vulnerable through the Drought Emergency Cash Transfer Program. The program, launched on August 7, 2024 by the Ministry of Community Development and Social Services, aimed at mitigating the impact of the drought, which affected an estimated 8.9 million people, was rolled out to targeted beneficiaries to help them cope with the crisis. Yesterday, Minister of Community Development and Social Services Doreen Mwamba officially announced the end of the ECT program, directing that the elderly citizens, persons with disabilities and lactating mothers who were beneficiaries of the ECT be transitioned to the Ordinary Social Cash Transfer Program, which is implemented countrywide. Diamond TV visited some of the beneficiaries, including 65-year-old Alan Miti, who says it would take some time to adjust without the monthly support, stating that apart from meeting his basic needs, the funds helped him buy a bicycle to aid his mobility.
From the last money what I've done, it has helped me for the transport. I've got spares for my bicycle, so it has helped me a lot of things.
Another beneficiary has urged government to ensure that vulnerable citizens continue receiving support through other social protection programs. Meanwhile, beneficiaries of the Emergency Cash Transfer Program in Chinsali have echoed similar sentiments over the conclusion of the ECT program.
The ending of this program worries me. I'm a peasant farmer, but it is not enough for me to depend on farming. This money has been very beneficial to me and my children. Right now, after collecting this money, since the emergency cash transfer started, it has been very helpful to me and my child. I have managed to buy roofing sheets. I have a house now where to stay. I wish that government would continue with this program.
According to the Ministry of Community Development, a total of 952,570 people benefited from the 2024-2025 drought emergency.
United Party for National Development Media Director Mark Simue has denied allegations that the Lusaka High Court's decision to quash the one-year jail sentence of former presidential aide Amos Chanda was influenced by political affiliation. Speaking at a media briefing in Lusaka, Mr. Simue has challenged critics to explain how acting Patriotic Front President Given Lubinda won a court case that is, despite not being aligned with the UPND. He has reiterated that it is the judiciary's responsibility to uphold fairness and impartiality. On the 12th of May, the Lusaka High Court overturned Mr. Chanda's conviction for stealing and destroying court exhibits.
Recently, United Party for National Development UPND media official Amos Chanda was freed from his one-year jail sentence for stealing and destroying court exhibits. This sparked widespread debate, with many, especially from the opposition, claiming he was only acquitted because of being aligned to the UPND. This has prompted UPND Media Director Mark Simue to clear the air.
Given Lubinda won the case, is he aligned to UPND? Huh? He is not. So are we going to say that we manipulated the process on behalf of a Tonse member? So that kind of argument in a democracy is not successful. But then I should hasten to mention that when you go to court, you have the justice system which is independent. Maybe I connect that to another issue that I think that's Brenna Changala who is raising concerns on appeals. It is our legal process. At appeal, on appeal, when a trial court is done with their work, the first thing the presiding officer will tell you is your right to appeal against the judgment.
Speaking at a briefing in Lusaka, Mr. Simoe emphasized the need for the judiciary to be fair.
The role of the justice system is to ensure that people are treated fairly. There should be justice. Not that at all costs people must be convicted. Are we together? That is why people are taken to court. People are taken to court not for conviction, but for justice. So that if they are innocent, they are acquitted. If they are guilty, they are punished according to the law. So basically, that is what happens.
He also spoke over the New Dawn government's economic-driven road network development on the Copper Belt.
We have the Masangano to Fisenge, Masangano Fisenge to Luansha. The road has been done and dusted. Had an opportunity to get into Luansha, drove there, it has gotten into Luansha, and selected township roads have been done in Luansha.
The Lusaka High Court acquitted Mr. Chanda in a case where he was sentenced to 1 year imprisonment for stealing and burning court evidence, saying the magistrate's court erred in both law and fact and grossly misrepresented itself when it relied on discredited and contradictory evidence to convict Mr. Chanda. Joseph Kaputola, Diamond News.
We take our first set of commercials, and when we get back, the business news is coming up. But for now, I leave you with the weather update. Thereafter, the Diamond Insight.
This is your Diamond Insight of poverty reduction requires all of us, but leadership must lead. Vice President Mutale Nalumango's remarks at the Regional Poverty Reduction and Climate Resilience Conference serves as a timely reminder that the fight against poverty and climate change cannot be left to politicians alone. Her call for a broader society-wide response, especially from the academia and research community, deserves serious reflection. For far too long, poverty has been treated as a problem for governments to solve in isolation. In reality, it is a complex, multidimensional challenge that demands input and participation from every sector: civil society, the private sector, religious leaders, traditional authorities, researchers, and ordinary citizens alike. No meaningful development can be sustained without a shared commitment from the entire nation. Academicians and researchers in particular have a vital role to play, not just in analyzing the roots of poverty or climate vulnerability, but in helping shape practical homegrown solutions. However, as Vice President Nalumango rightly observed, too many world research reports end up shelved, never translated into policy or action. This is a missed opportunity both for the country and the region. But even as we emphasize collective responsibility, we must not understate the importance of political leadership. It is not enough to urge action from all corners of society without acknowledging that politicians hold the keys to resource allocation, policy direction, and institutional reform. Only political leaders can create an enabling environment needed for collective efforts to succeed, whether through legislative reforms, budget priorities, or enforcing accountability. Leadership must go beyond identifying who else should act. it must demonstrate the courage to implement difficult but necessary changes. Collective responsibility should not become a convenient way to dilute accountability. It should be a rallying call that starts at the top and flows through every level of society. If Zambia is to make headway in eradicating poverty and building resilience against climate change, the approach must be united, but it must also be led. In this shared responsibility, political leaders must not only inspire participation, they must also set the pace.
Business News is brought to you by Zambia Industrial Commercial Bank. Zambia Industrial Commercial Bank, making tomorrow possible.
Good evening. Welcome to the Business News Update. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Let's take a read at these stories coming up. Government dismisses speculation, says energy projects remain on track, and Zipper calls for mine sector strategy to boost tourism's GDP contribution. I'll be right back with more details. The Ministry of Energy has reaffirmed the government's commitment to key national energy projects, stating that all major initiatives remain on course despite recent political speculation to the contrary. In a statement issued by Energy Minister Makozo Chikote, the government clarified that flagship projects, including the Batoka Gorge hydropower project, have not been shelved. Now, the expansion of the Mamba Colliery's power plant is also progressing steadily. Following a groundbreaking ceremony in August 2024, the plant is expected to double its generation capacity to 600 megawatts by mid-2026. The project is backed by local financing, most notably from the National Pension Scheme Authority, NAPSA, ensuring that investment benefits remain with Zambia. Minister Chikote also dispelled rumors of plans to unbundle ZESCO, stating that current efforts are focused on improving the utility's operational efficiency, financial health, as well as customer service delivery. More from the Business News this evening. The Zambia Institute for Policy Analysis and Research, ZIPA, has urged the government to develop a comprehensive strategy for the meetings, incentives, conferences and exhibitions MICE sector, citing its untapped potential to significantly boost the country's gross domestic product. ZIPA research fellow Emmanuel Muma noted that while MICE tourism presents a promising opportunity for economic growth, its impact is currently underreported due to a lack of structured data collection and focused policy support. Mr. Muma added that creating a formal MICE strategy and establishing a dedicated bureau would help position Zambia as a competitive destination for international conferences and business events. Meanwhile, Tourism Council of Zambia Vice President Christopher O'Donnell echoed the call for a structured marketing approach.
A call has been made for Zambia to develop a targeted strategy for the meetings, incentives, conferences and exhibitions commonly known as MICE sector to unlock its full economic potential. The Zambia Institute for Policy Analysis and Research says the MICE industry remains underreported despite its potential to significantly contribute to the country's gross domestic product.
That we don't yet have a MICE tourism strategy and we don't have a MICE bureau, and these are some of the key, I think, starting points of any country that wants to grow MICE tourism. And in Rwanda, like we benchmarked with it, they started with developing the strategy, which is the MICE strategy, and they developed a bureau specifically to market their country like that. But Zambia doesn't have that. So one of the recommendations we were making, even now we are making, is that we need to expedite the development of the MICE tourism strategy, which would then inform the development of the MICE marketing bureau.
Meanwhile, Tourism Council of Zambia Vice Chairperson Christopher O'Donnell has echoed the call for a more focused approach. He says increasing funding to the Zambia Tourism Agency and developing a clear marketing strategy for MICE will yield strong returns by attracting global events and boosting international visitor numbers.
First is a very clear marketing strategy for the MICE subsector, which is different to the leisure marketing strategy. So I think ZTA is working on it. We all need to support it. We want to see their marketing budget grow. I think in 2024 they had about a 50 million kwacha marketing budget for the whole country. That includes, leisure, business, maize subsectors. But we want to see that grow to 150 million in the next couple of years.
Rachel Mumba for Diamond News.
Let us now take a look at how the kwacha is performing against the United States dollar as of close of business today. Now here are your money markets. The kwacha now buying at 26 kwacha 16 ngwe and selling at 26 kwacha 99 ngwe. These are average commercial rates for today, the 14th of May 2025. But let's quickly take a look at what this simply represents, or what this simply means by getting into the construction commodity prices. We do kickstart off with how much you would need to purchase these nails right here, 6-inch wire nails for building construction, and you need exactly 583 kwacha, and this is for 10 packs of 10 nails. And we also have some cable ties, custom cut 1 feet to 7 feet stainless steel cable ties, that is, and you need exactly 424 kwacha for you to be able to get these particular stainless steel cable ties. These money markets are courtesy of the Zambia National Building Society, and that wraps up the construction commodity prices as well as the money markets. Coming up, we do have the commodity prices for food and non-food items. From the commodity prices, that's for food and non-food items. We start off with the food items, and 1 kg of beef going for 100 kwacha, 2 kg of sugar 70 kwacha, and a kg of sugar 33 kwacha, 2.5 kg of flour at 95 kwacha. You need in between 160 to 180 kwacha to get 5 kg worth of nakonde rice. A tray of eggs in between 100 to 110 kwacha. You need exactly 170 to 180 kwacha to get 2.5 liters of cooking oil. 300 kwacha gets you 5 liters worth of it. And for breakfast, for milli meal, that is 190 kwacha for a 10 kg bag, and for a 25 kg bag you need in between 373 to 390 kwacha. For a milli meal roller, a 10 kg bag, you need 153 kwacha, and 300 kwacha gets you a 25 kg bag of milli meal roller. Those are the food items. Let's take a look now at the non-food items, as we start off with 10 rolls of toilet paper at 85 kwacha, toothpaste for 175 grams, a tube that is in between 26 to 35 kwacha, multi-purpose soap 1 bar in between 25 to 45 kwacha, washing powder 500 grams in between 40 to 45 kwacha, and 1.5 kg worth of washing powder in between 95 to 135 kwacha, and we have 3.5 kg worth of washing powder in between 209 and 229 kwacha, a bar of bathing soap in between 19 to 29 kwacha, and 750 mils of liquid hand washing soap in between 45 to 50 kwacha. Those are the commodity prices. That's for food and non-food items. Coming up, we do have the mining news.
Business News was brought to you by Zambia Industrial Commercial Bank. Zambia Industrial Commercial Bank, making tomorrow possible.
Mining News, sponsored by First Quanta Minerals Limited, operating Kansanshi Mining PLC, and FQM Trident Limited.
Coming up this evening from the mining news, the Mine Workers Union of Zambia is concerned over intimidation silencing union leaders in the mining sector. And we also focus on FQM partners with Greenco and ZESCO to secure renewable power from Kariba North. All this and so much more coming up after these short messages.
I get my satisfaction from making sure we achieve high production, we have high availability on the plant. So I look after the whole site, starting from crushers all the way up to the concentrate shed where we store our concentrate. So my satisfaction comes from the fact that when the entire plant is working and we have high availability and producing high tonnages as required. Actually, to be very honest, it wasn't my passion to work in the mining industry. I remember when I went to study a bachelor's degree in electronics and telecoms, I acquired that from the University of Zambia, and if you see, it has really got nothing to do with the mining industry. So my passion was always to work for ZESCO And later on, as I was job hunting, I came across a profile of First Quantum, and I was really interested in what First Quantum is all about, and I decided to apply for a job. And that's when I joined First Quantum in 2012.
Now, the Mine Workers Union of Zambia has expressed concern over the increasing fears among branch union leaders in the mining sector, warning that intimidation and threats of dismissal are preventing effective representation of workers. MUZ President Joseph Chewe said the union has observed a worrying trend where branch leaders are reluctant to address workers' grievances due to the fear of losing their jobs, weakening the collective voice of employees across many mining operations. He urged union representatives not to conceal challenges but to escalate serious matters to national leadership for proper intervention. Mr. Chewe, who reaffirmed MUZ's commitment to advocating for the protection of workers' rights, called on mining companies to respect the role of unions in promoting fair labor practices.
The Mine Workers Union of Zambia sounded the alarm over what it describes as a growing intimidation in the mining sector, an issue it says is weakening union representation on the ground. Union President Joseph Chewe says branch leaders in some mining companies have become hesitant to speak out due to fear of losing their jobs, undermining efforts to protect workers' rights and welfare.
Where is the leadership of moves? We receive phone calls on daily basis. Here I'm being repeated, and the leaders are not seen. Where are our communities? So I challenge you to get back that those people died for the sake of what we are today.
Mr. Chewe is urging branch officials not to keep grievances under wraps, but to escalate unresolved matters to the union's national leadership for timely intervention.
I invite everyone to refresh our commitment to the struggles that lie in our company where we are working. You are the eyes of the forefathers. So if you see your fellow worker being humiliated, where is the leadership of moves?
He warns that remaining silent only worsens conditions for miners, many of whom depend on union structures for representation and protection.
Most of these difficulties related to occupational health and safety and housing, as well as unfair labor practices. The union has received reports of miners being subjected to poor working conditions, long working hours, and denial of benefits. These vices, comrades, we are the ones who need to uproot them.
As one of Zambia's most vital economic sectors, the mining industry employs thousands, but ensuring those workers are treated fairly remains a growing concern. Love Mosondash for Diamond News in Kitwe.
Thank you very much.
More from the mining news. First Quantum Minerals FQM has entered into a landmark agreement to secure clean and reliable electricity from the Kariba North Bank Extension Energy Plant, a move aimed at boosting Zambia's renewable energy capacity and enhancing industrial energy security. FQM Country Director Anthony Mukutuma said the agreement introduces an innovative partnership model that brings together public and private sector players. Developed by Kariba North Bank Extension Power Corporation, a subsidiary of state utility ZESCO, the KNBE project has secured commercial debt financing from Standard Bank Group and Stanbic Bank Zambia. The financing is underpinned by a 13-year power purchase agreement between KNBE and Greenco Power Services. Under a separate power supply agreement, Greenco will supply renewable electricity from the KNB plant directly to FQM's mining operations. Let us now take a look at the mineral commodity prices.
Mining news sponsored by First Quantum Minerals Limited, operating Kansanshi Mining PLC, and FQM Trident Limited.
Now, Now, from the mineral commodity prices, we do have 6 minerals closing off in a positive, and we start off with aluminium, which closed off with a positive with a closing price of $2,490. We have copper as well closing off with a closing price there of $9,599.50, closing off in a positive there. Closing off in a positive as well is zinc with the closing price of $2,705, as well as nickel closing off in a positive there with a closing price of $15,735. Lead closed off in a positive, the closing price of $1,989. We have tin as well closing off in a positive there with a closing price of $32,721. So that's what we have there for our mineral commodity prices. Overall, that's our mining news. We take a break. More is coming up.
Mining News, sponsored by First Quanta Minerals Limited, operating Kansanshi Mining PLC, and FQM Trident Limited.
Let's continue with the rest of the news desk. Farmers in Chinsali district have expressed distress over the potential crop damage following unusual weather patterns marked by low rainfall and temperature fluctuations. Some farmers in Chikanda village have been seen prematurely harvesting maize to prevent potential losses. Ephraim Chilwa, a farmer, has acknowledged that while early harvesting may not be ideal, it is a necessary precaution given the changing weather. However, Lubu Camp Extension Officer Frederick Schone has advised against harvesting, stating that most maize crops are already inclined downward, reducing the likelihood of rain damage. More details in this report.
According to the Meteorological Department, northern parts of Muchinga, northern and Luapula provinces are likely to record rainfall activities. And since the 6th of May 2025, Chinsali district has recorded sporadic weather conditions with light rains. This situation has sent panic among farmers who are not ready to harvest the crop. Despite the inadequate manpower, Ephraim Bambala of Chikanda farming block has begun gathering the crop for fear of damage. This field was planted early, and I fear for the moisture content that might potentially damage the crop. Diamond TV News crew visited other farmers who are in a dilemma over what decision to take. As a farmer, I'm concerned with the prevailing weather condition, and I've got so many questions to ask the experts. Should we go ahead and harvest? The fear is that if we put them in the maize ban with high moisture content, they might get damaged.
So hapana ife venena tusakamana kumbi ofo yala pitana kulingana na weather bado tuwebo kutira pana 19.
It is still too difficult for me to decide what to do with the crop at the moment, but I'm hopeful that by 19th, this weather pattern will pass away, and then we shall be able to see a bit of more sunlight. But Lubu Camp Extension Officer Frederick Sichone has advice for his farmers.
The weather changes and we are able to receive more of our sunlight, then definitely we shall be able to say, yes, now we can go ahead with the harvest. Right now we are receiving light rains because once the maize is like this, like the way it is appearing, it's facing down. Once the light rains are coming, then definitely once the little water comes here, it will be able to drain down. Definitely, meaning that the maize as it is right now, it is going to be very safe.
The Zambia Weather Department cautioned farmers to safeguard their grain from damage due to changes in weather. Cecilia Kayam, Prokoso, Diamond News, Chinsali, Muchinga Province.
More from the news desk. The civil society Scaling Up Nutrition Alliance Zambia CSO Sun has raised concern about the growing dependency on hybrid maize seed, warning that it could jeopardize national food security. CSO Sun country coordinator Daniel Kalala has told Diamond News that traditional or indigenous maize varieties risk extinction, potentially leaving farmers with limited autonomy over what they cultivate. Mr. Kalala has further observed that hybrid seeds deplete soil nutrients at a faster rate than indigenous varieties, contributing to declining soil fertility. However, Canon Mukuma, a crop systems agronomist at Bayer Zambia Limited, has defended the shift, noting that indigenous seeds have become less viable due to climate change.
Commercial seed companies is that commercial seed companies often invest in breeding seeds that have high yields, disease resistance, low tolerance to drought, and uniformity. For a farmer, this translates into better harvest and better income.
Farmer Charles Sakala brings out the good and bad side of depending on seed companies.
The only disadvantage that these commercial seed companies have is that you can't replant the second generation. It doesn't do well. So farmers are forced to buy seed each and every year, meaning that it's also a cost on...
Agriculture expert Oliver Volaya explains why farmers often prefer hybrid maize seed from seed companies to indigenous maize seed.
Hybrids, bred with, such specific traits, like yielding potential and resistant, to particular diseases, and also tolerant, to various climatical conditions.
But the civil society Scaling Up Nutrition Alliance Zambia CSO Sun is not for the idea of entirely depending on seed companies.
As a CSO Sun, as an alliance, we would want to revisit our traditional seeds, because seed is our identity. That's what actually identifies us as Zambians. We know this is seed we inherited from our forefathers. It's seed that actually has become so accustomed to our environment, to our low fertility soils and so on. It's seed that gives a sense of sovereignty to our farmers because they can recycle their own seed.
Seed companies have their own defense.
And when we look at the capacity of the plant that we have in Kabwe, that Itaba, the capacity is far much beyond what the whole Zambian market can consume. We are looking at a broader picture at the global level. So with that, we are guaranteeing that seed supply will never be an issue in Zambia. If there was an issue, that's history. With the coming of Bayer on board with the new plant, with the state of art that it has, issues of seed shortages will be the thing of the past, especially here in Zambia.
Whether or not farmers should depend on seed companies has been a debate for years. Last year, the proposed Plant Breeders' Rights Bill received backlash from some stakeholders, claiming it aims at criminalizing farmers' rights to save, share and reuse seed. Joseph Kaputun.
In another update, the United Nations Population Fund has praised the Zambian government for allocating $7.1 million over 2 years to support reproductive health services. Speaking during the Forecasting and Quantification Conference, UNFPA Sexual and Reproductive Health Specialist Dr. Wezi Kaonga says the financial commitment reflects Zambia's efforts to improve maternal and reproductive health outcomes. And Zambia Medicines and Medical Supplies Agency, SAMSA, Acting Director General Chimunya Malilwe, has announced the near completion of a national product catalogue aimed at standardizing medicines and improving procurement. Meanwhile, the Pharmaceutical Society of Zambia President Kigan Mwape welcomed law enforcement efforts to curb drug pilferage, which led to 75 arrests.
Stakeholders in Zambia's health sector have gathered in Ndola for the annual Forecasting and Quantification Conference, a high-level meeting aimed at improving the availability and delivery of essential medicines across public health facilities. The conference brought together key players including the Ministry of Health, the United Nations Population Fund, ZAMSA, and the Pharmaceutical Society of Zambia. The impact of commitment signed between UNFPA and the Zambian government is impacted to ensure constant supply of productive health commodities, especially for vulnerable groups.
UNFPA supports the government of the Republic of Zambia to ensure that we end unmet need for family planning and preventable maternal deaths, and also end gender-based violence and other forms of
The Zambia Medicines and Medical Supplies Agency says it is finalizing a national product catalogue to guide procurement and standardize essential medicine.
At the core of every successful supply chain lies the ability to anticipate need. Forecasting and quantification, therefore, are critical enablers of this ability. They allow us to optimize inventory, reduce costs, and ensure customer and indeed patient satisfaction.
Pharmaceutical Society of Zambia warned against pilferage of essential medicines in the health sector and calling for stiffer punishment for those found wanting.
It is my hope and desire that we are not going to have stockouts in our facilities, and that my members are not going to be cited to say they are stealing drugs. As we are all aware, pharmacists, pharmacy technologists are ethical players.
The conference continues as stakeholders pledge to strengthen a partnership, improve transparency, and ensure every Zambian has access to life-saving medicines. Love Mwasandash for Diamond News in Ndola.
That is all we had for you this evening on the news desk at 20 hours. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember to utilize our social media platforms for these and more news items, as well as our website. That's www.diamondtvzambia.com. My name is Justin Mulenga. Good night.